Can't hear it.
Who is much smaller than I am. So um, I've got the shirt on, and I'm just holding it together. So let's see, what would be a good story to begin a day like this? The psychiatrist said, well, clearly you suffer from delusions of grandeur. When do you think this started? The guy said, oh, probably in the beginning, when I created the heavens and the earth. All right. Welcome to this place, which we make holy by our presence. These doors are open to all. Bring your brokenness, bring your early morning and your energy, for here you need not hide nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, where the human is celebrated, where compassion is strength. Welcome to this place. Together we make it a holy place. Now please join me for the words of the chalice lighting, which are printed inside of your leaflet. And I left mine over there, so by join me, I mean please handle the words of the chalice lighting for me, which are printed in your leaflet. And not to harm, help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, serve you, Spirit of freedom. And this is the time in the service when we open the floor for those joys and concerns that we bring in with us. And, in this building, we don't do our worship around an altar, and we don't center our worship around, sharing bread and wine and church sacraments. But I do really feel like this, which was a baptismal font, but that this is our candle area, and that this is really the sacrament in this service. So this is what we can share. I invite you to take a moment and think about if there is something you would like to share this morning. Check, 1, 2. Thank you. Our dog Daisy is really anxious. This week, we're painting the kitchen and the living room. You keep the place clean as best you can, but every so often it just reaches the point where you either need to roll a new coat of paint over the wall smudges and ceiling spots, or just burn the place down and start over. So you move everything out of the kitchen, and every inch of it gets some attention. And when you move back in, it's like a whole new room, new colors, and all of the stuff you take out. Your new improved kitchen only needs the essentials. Not all of the same dingy knickknacks from the windowsills. And why do we have 4 corkscrew wine bottle openers? That would be like 1 bottle opener for every bottle of wine we open in the year, which is only when guests come over. So you shuffle stuff around, you winnow it down. For a while, the place looks new. But to our dog, Daisy, it's really alienating, like erasing years of memories, and she looks really worried. She doesn't even see that the old off-white walls are now a cheery sunflower yellow, because she can't detect that in the color spectrum. I've got the specialized eyes and hands. She's got the expert snout. It's part of what makes humans and canines a good team. I've been thinking this week about how the human being of all creatures ended up with such a dull sense of smell. I personally suspect it happened gradually when the big cats came. Like by the time you can smell a leopard, it's too late. It's better to stand upright and see the tall grass rustling miles away. Or better yet, wade in shallow water. One of the theories about how humanity transitioned to standing upright is that our ancestors spent thousands of years hiding from the big cats in shallow water, sort of weightless, and that this caused our feet to flatten and our spines to straighten. Wading in shallow water, eating sea urchins and raw oysters for generation after generation after generation, you'd probably be happier with a duller sense of smell. And after cautiously returning to land, I imagine that one of the things that bonded humans and canines was that a dog is like an external nose, a really powerful one. How the dog decided to enter into this partnership is anybody's guess. A wolf pack is secure and self-sufficient. There's no reason to leave it and go join another species, unless you're not happy there. Let's remember, a pack of wolves is a pack of individual personalities. The pack is unified, like a Spartan platoon. It's regimented and serious, but there's always one, the class clown or the drama queen. In a pack of wild dogs, there's usually one that stays childish and playful and can't quite fit in. There's a theory that it was the outcasts of the wolf packs who came to live with human beings. Ethologists studying packs of dogs in the wild see that alpha dogs could never be pets. The leaders of the pack are like stiff military officers, like drill sergeants, or they act like professional dog trainers. And most dogs can be trained to stay in formation for team maneuvers, and then a few of them in a wild dog pack act like pets, yipping and panting and playing, which the alpha dogs find bothersome, but humans find it really adorable because, let's face it, our children don't act enough like puppies. You get home broken and tired after a long day. Your kids barely look up from the couch to say, "So, what's for dinner?" And the dog is like leaping and yapping and is so excited to see you and just wants to tell you everything about its day. So, to make up for how dull our children can be, we adopted these dogs. And even before we started training seeing eye dogs to assist visually impaired humans, they functioned as smelling nose dogs because we are nasally impaired. We don't even really think about it, the way our dim sense of smell has shaped human history. If humans had a stronger sense of smell, there would be no cities. There would be no factories, no automobiles. We would just find them to be too smelly. Medieval Europe smelled so bad that explorers had to be sent halfway around the world looking for perfumes and spices. Remember, Christopher Columbus did not sail the ocean blue looking for gold. He was looking for Asian herbs and incense to make Spain smell better. And when the natives of the Americas first encountered Europeans, their first impression was not the godlike glint of steel armor. It was the infernal stink of sailors. If it weren't for Europeans wanting pleasant scents to sniff, the Americas would still be undiscovered, which would be good news for the indigenous populations, but bad news for people like me, whose parents come from different continents. My mom, who comes from Hungary, smelled this guy who came from an entirely different part of the world, and something primal in the back of her brain said, "That's the guy that I should have children with." Diane Ackerman writes that every person has an individual scent that's as unique as a fingerprint. And this can encode personal information. So there's even a theory that a person's familial medical history might be contained in their body odor. Female laboratory mice will seek out a mate who's immune to certain sicknesses that she is susceptible to. They don't do this consciously. They just get a feeling that of all mice, this particular mouse is the best guy to have children with. And they will reject other mice whose immunities overlap with theirs. This may be a clue to the mystery of human attraction. I don't notice my personal scent. As long as I'm sitting at my desk, I don't seem to smell like anything. And then I find myself at the checkout counter of a grocery store and somebody should have put on deodorant this morning. And I realize, oh, that's me. And these pants that passed the sniff test in my bedroom, that's because everything smells like me in my bedroom. I recently went to a concert. I went to see the Silver Sun Pickups, an alt-rock band with icy beats and paranoid lyrics. And I was in a good spot, but there was this guy next to me, a pale guy with red dreadlocks and a tie-dye shirt and a hemp necklace, one of those guys who thinks that burning an incense stick in the car counts as taking a shower. And I thought, whoa, man, you're at the wrong show. If I wanted to smell somebody's acrid body odor, I would have gone to see the Grateful Dead. This is emo alternative rock. We're supposed to be self-conscious and neurotic here. This guy's scent was invading my personal space. Come to think of it, I spend a lot of my time going to concerts where people are kind of packed in like sardines, jumping up and down and sweating in confined spaces. But I guess I'm drawn to bands that encourage personal hygiene. Or maybe there's some unspoken social contract that we should all shower before jumping and sweating together. And who knows, maybe that guy next to me at that concert was equally bothered, like, hey, whoever smells like Old Spice over there, this is a rock concert. Stop smelling like my dad. our sense of smell changes as we grow up. Desmond Morris writes that children are drawn to sweet, fruity smells, and then they hit puberty, and there's a sudden dramatic shift in favor of flowery, oily, and musky odors. Puberty is also when we get our particular noses. You know, all babies start out with pretty much the same little nose nub, this bauble that kind of pushes in to make an airway so they don't suffocate while nursing. Kid noses are all pretty similar. You wouldn't notice it, except that a kid with an unusual nose looks really, really unusual. There are minor ethnic variations. Ethnic groups from warmer climates have darker skin and flatter noses. Ethnic groups from colder climates have longer noses to kind of warm the air a little bit before it hits the brain. But the shape of someone's adult nose won't reveal itself until the onset of puberty. It's like a lottery. Like at a certain age, your kid steps up to this wheel of fortune and all of your relatives' noses flash by on their faces until it stops and you say, oh, grandfather's nose. As a parent, you watch and wonder. Connor got my Aunt Susie's bulb nose. Jackson's got a slightly more aerodynamic of my long nose. There's an open set of brackets in my notes because I couldn't think of one single word to describe my own nose. I see it as this like thing that just enters my field of vision from both sides. But it's long enough that I can like put it in the center. I can bring the two sides of my nose together. I can also do this. But my mom tells me to be careful. I might get stuck that way. Malcolm's 12. He will get his adult nose sometime in the next year and a half. And I'm frankly in suspense about it since his entire way of relating to people is predicated on getting extra slack for being super handsome. And William's nose is anybody's guess. As a religious studies teacher, I get to look at a lot of religions, and they're so different, but there's a commonality that runs through a lot of ancient religions. Babylonian, Indian, Israelite, Japanese, Greek, and others. The gods need to be fed. They produce ingredients, and then human beings need to cook for them. But the gods don't chew and swallow food. If you leave a plate of curry at a shrine, the food is not going to levitate and disappear into some invisible mouth. The gods consume by scent. They savor the smoke of a burned offering or the steam of a food sacrifice. And then they'll generally leave you the leftovers, which is the whole plate of food, except that it's missing something. This essential spirit has departed from that plate of curry in the steam. Cold curry does not taste the same as hot curry because a lot of the taste of curry is just in that scent that's rising into your nose. So the gods consider that to be the best part of the food. And they take that and they consume it. And then the cold, kind of flavorless curry that's left over, that becomes their gift back to you. They leave you their leftovers. So while we may think of scent as the most animal and earthly of the senses, in these ancient religions, it is the most elevated and godly of the senses. One of the things I really appreciate about Unitarian Universalism is that there are so many lenses and perspectives through which to look at questions of meaning. What would a Buddhist say about this? How would a Cherokee see it? And looking a bit further afield, I also wonder, how would a Welsh Corgi think about this? Well, who does my dog think I am? We like to think our pets admire us, that they think that we are angels or deities because of the things that we can do that they can't. But who's to say that they value those things? Maybe our pets think of us like children who will never grow up, never be able to experience the world in the ways that they most love to experience it. The fourth principle of Unitarian Universalism is a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And personally, I love to search for meaning in books. I even love the smell of old books. I really enjoyed the scent chapter of Diane Ackerman's book, what she's found in her research and travels. And lately, I've also been reading Friedrich Nietzsche. And I think that there was a lot of truth and meaning inside of his head. Also, a lot of problems. I wonder what it means to be human, and I check in with a lot of poets, philosophers, pioneers, prognosticators, etc. And then I wonder if Friedrich Nietzsche had a little dog, like a little German Shepherd or a Weimaraner, watching him write and thinking, hey man, get a life. Don't just wallow in thought. Go out there and really wallow. Go find something stinky and roll in it. What doesn't kill you makes you smell stronger. And what does kill you, I guess, will make you smell stronger as well. Thank you. Do we have any announcements today? Then please join me for the words of extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Together we have sanctified this space. If you have found strength and comfort here, share some out there. Remember that you are blessed, and you are a blessing, and you are not alone. And now I can hardly believe it, but I am. I'm gonna step up to this piano again. And now I'm like, now I'm really scared about it. That can't possibly be right. Okay. I'm going to try My Girl again, because I think we pretty much got that last time. There we go. I've got sunshine on a cloudy day. When it's cold outside, I've got the month of May. I guess you'd say, what can make me feel this way, my girl? Talking about my girl. I've got so much honey, bees envy me. I got a sweeter song than the birds in the trees. I guess you'd say, what can make me feel this way, my girl? Talking about my girl. I don't need no money, fortune, or fame. I got all the riches, baby, one man can claim. Well, I guess you'd say, what can make me feel this way, my girl? Talking about my girl. Good, okay.
your